What began as a quiet palace conversation spiraled into royal chaos. During a private meeting in March 2025, Queen Camilla reportedly suggested that several of Princess Diana's iconic jewels, including the sapphire brooch and pearl drop earrings, be revalued or repurposed for modern royal use. The remark, overheard by aides, sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. For Prince William and Catherine, it crossed a sacred line, tampering with Diana's legacy. Within days, tempers flared, meetings turned cold, and whispers spread. The king's wife could face the unthinkable, royal exile for disrespecting the crown's most beloved memory. The first missing gem. It began quietly on March 4, 2025, inside the high-security vault beneath Buckingham Palace. At 9:12 a.m., a senior attendant named James Lydon opened drawer 72, where Princess Diana's sapphire and diamond brooch had rested for over 28 years. The slot was empty. No removal slip, no cleaning log, no official signature. The line on the digital record still read, "In storage, unmoved since 1997. His stomach tightened. Nothing in that vault ever went missing. By noon, 2 supervisors checked the entries again. Cameras showed no intrusion, no technician, no courier. Palace policy required double authorization for each withdrawal, and yet the internal log showed none. At 3 p.m., they cross-checked the Queen's personal ledger, still blank. The missing brooch wasn't just an item. It was a royal relic tied to emotion, ceremony, and public memory. 3 weeks later, on March 25th, another alert. Diana's pearl drop earrings unaccounted for. Then on April 2nd, a gold bracelet from a 1986 Middle East tour gone as well. All 3 losses fell within 29 days. The odds of clerical error were nearly zero. Could someone have taken them? Whispered an archivist. Even uttering the question felt treasonous inside those marble halls. The whisper spread by evening. To outsiders, they were jewels. To the royal family, they were heartbeats of history. Pieces once touched by a woman who changed monarchy through compassion. Something sacred had been disturbed, and everyone knew the first missing gem was only the beginning. By April 5th, 2025, quiet panic reached the upper floors. A coded memo titled Anomaly Report 147 landed on the desk of Catherine, Princess of Wales, at Kensington Palace. The report listed irregularities in 3 royal items once belonging to Diana Spencer, 1961 to 1997. Catherine read it twice, her pulse quickening. These weren't trinkets, they were family. She stood, slipped the file into her bag, and said softly, "I'll handle this myself." That decision marked the moment the search became personal. Catherine's uneasy discovery. At 10:30 a.m. April 6, 2025, Catherine met discreetly with Anne Summers, the veteran attendant who had noticed the anomaly. Inside a sunlit drawing room at apartment 1A, Kensington Palace, Anne spread photocopies of vault ledgers. "No signatures, ma'am. No authorizations since 2022. Catherine's eyes fixed on the empty lines beside Diana's entries. Sapphire brooch, pearl drops, gold bracelet. 3 missing pieces, same handling officer, same dates. Her instinct sharpened. Catherine had worn that sapphire brooch once, in 2011, when she and Prince William visited Ottawa. It had been lent as a tribute to Diana's humanitarian spirit. She knew its weight, its history, its symbolism. Losing it wasn't just an administrative failure, it was emotional theft. She called the head of the Royal Collection at 11:47 a.m., requesting digital movement logs. The reply came hours later. Files inaccessible, archived pending audit. Unusual, evasive, wrong. By evening, she sat in her small study reviewing printouts. The jewelry cleaning schedule for February 2025 showed no service requests. Courier forms were blank. Even insurance renewal files had missing attachments. "Someone wiped the trail," she murmured. William, returning from an engagement at Sandhurst, found her still at the desk at 11 p.m. She showed him the papers. "It's not lost," she said quietly. "It's been taken." The shock didn't show on William's face, but his jaw set. "We do this properly," he replied. Quietly. From that moment, the matter moved from curiosity to crisis. Catherine would become both detective and guardian, driven not by protocol but by memory, the duty to defend a mother-in-law she'd never met. By April 10, 2025, Catherine had discreetly copied the entire jewelry register, hiding one set in a plain brown folder labeled Charity Projects 2025. The move logs confirmed her fear. No formal authorization existed after 2023. That same day, an archivist whispered that a brooch identical to Diana's was listed for auction in Monaco. Catherine froze mid-step. Coincidence was impossible. With that single tip, the private worry inside Kensington became a royal investigation, and the first thread of a scandal about to unravel across Europe. The legacy that cannot be sold. To the world, Diana's jewels were beautiful. To the monarchy, they were a heartbeat. Each stone carried a story that shaped modern royal history. The sapphire brooch, once belonging to Queen Mary, 1867 to 1953, was passed to Diana Spencer on her engagement in 1981. She transformed it from formal heirloom to personal statement, a symbol of independence in a rigid world. That brooch had seen triumphs, heartbreaks, and the public's enduring love. The pearl drop earrings, worn during Diana's humanitarian visits to Angola 1997 and Nepal 1993, became icons of empathy. The gold bracelet, gifted by a Middle Eastern royal during her 1986 tour, symbolized diplomacy through grace. Each represented a bridge between royalty and humanity. When Catherine saw their names on the missing list, she understood the scale of betrayal. These weren't replaceable artifacts. They were emotional contracts with the people. William often said Diana's jewelry collection told Britain's post-war story, modernity wrapped in tradition. He had kept them not as display pieces, but as inheritance for his children. Losing them risked more than material scandal. It risked reopening wounds that decades couldn't heal. "We cannot let her be stolen again," he told Catherine during a quiet walk through the Kensington Gardens on April 12, 2025. That night, Catherine made a vow in her diary. "These jewels carry love, pain, and history. Whoever took them forgot what they mean. I won't." It wasn't written as a royal, but as a daughter-in-law defending legacy. The next morning, the Monaco auction catalog would confirm her worst suspicion. The jewels weren't lost inside the palace. They were already out in the world, up for sale. At 7:45 a.m., April 13, 2025, Catherine opened an email from a Parisian friend. A private invitation to the Monaco Heritage Auction, April 18th. Attached was a glossy preview image of Lot 47, sapphire and diamond brooch, circa 1880, provenance undisclosed. Her breath caught. The shape, the blue tone, the clasp, unmistakable. She forwarded the email to William with one line, "They're selling her." That discovery would send the Princess of Wales across borders, determined to bring Diana's memory home before the truth destroyed the palace. The first clue. On April 18, 2025, the sun glinted over Monte Carlo, where the Heritage Auction House hosted its annual Spring Gala. The catalog listed Lot 47, sapphire and diamond brooch, circa 1880, estimated at 1.2 million euros. Catherine watched the live stream from her private sitting room in Kensington Palace, the laptop screen glowing at 8:03 p.m. London time. The brooch's curve, the deep ocean blue center. It was unmistakably Diana's. As the auctioneer began, a photo briefly flashed online showing the display case moments before bidding. Catherine paused the feed, zooming in. Behind the glass reflection, she saw a blurred figure. A palace aide named Charles Everett, once part of the Royal Collection logistics team, now retired as of 2023. Her pulse quickened. Everett had no business being anywhere near those jewels. The brooch sold within minutes to an anonymous bidder, wired through a Geneva account. Catherine immediately called William, her voice steady but tight. "It's hers," she said. "I saw it." William, at Windsor, asked for confirmation from security contacts abroad. Within 24 hours, 2 more items surfaced: the pearl drop earrings in a Geneva boutique catalog and the gold bracelet scheduled for sale in London, May 2, 2025. It wasn't coincidence. It was a coordinated liquidation. By April 20th, Catherine printed every auction record she could find, stacking them neatly in a red folder marked Private Findings, DP Jewels. The handwriting in one shipping manifest caught her eye. Approved by Royal Office, Loan Clearance, CPB. 3 letters that made her stop breathing. Camilla Parker Bowles. At 10 p.m. April 21st, 2025, Catherine sat in silence before the fire. The initials were clear, but she needed certainty. She drafted a message to a trusted archivist inside Clarence House, asking for access to Camilla's jewelry authorization logs between February and March 2025. The reply came 2 days later, delivered by hand, sealed in ivory paper. When she opened it, the shock ran cold through her veins. Every missing item bore the Queen Consort's signature, each marked valuation and loan. The paper trail leads to Camilla. The discovery came like ice. The Clarence House ledger, dated March 2, 2025, bore neat cursive, "Authorization granted, Queen Consort Camilla, for valuation abroad." Below, 3 listed pieces: sapphire brooch, pearl drop earrings, gold bracelet. Catherine rechecked the palace protocol manual. Only the reigning monarch or an authorized delegate could approve removals, and all such movements required photographic verification and 2 signatures. None existed. She scanned further. The authorization dates matched the exact days the jewels vanished. Even more alarming, the destinations listed Zurich Appraisers and Maison Girard Geneva, both firms known for discreet handling of royal assets. Attached emails, extracted through a contact in the Foreign Office, showed valuations totaling £4.3 million, all completed within 10 days before each public sale. There were no returns logged. Catherine printed everything, her fingers trembling. It wasn't about theft anymore, it was betrayal. These weren't impersonal heirlooms. They were Diana's memory, pieces William had once described as Mum's voice when the world feels cold. The idea that Camilla had personally signed them out for sale or private profit was unthinkable. She could hear Diana's old interviews in her head. There were 3 of us in this marriage. Now, decades later, the shadow of that third person lingered again. At 9 p.m. April 24th, she showed William the file. He stared at the pages in disbelief. "Her name is on it," Catherine said quietly. "All of it." He didn't speak for several seconds, then only whispered, "We can't go to my father yet. Not until we have proof of sale." It was no longer a question of family. It was an issue of the Crown's moral survival. By April 26, 2025, William had quietly contacted the Lord Chamberlain, disguising the request as a protocol review. Investigators from the Treasury Office of Heritage Assets were quietly enlisted, their identities hidden from court gossip. Catherine handed over the red folder herself. The mission's aim was clear: confirm the jewel's journey, from vault to courier to buyer. Within days, their findings would reveal transactions routed through diplomatic channels. The operation had royal fingerprints on every page, and all trails led upward. The internal investigation. At 7:45 a.m. April 30th, 2025, 3 investigators gathered in a quiet wing of St. James's Palace, pretending to conduct a budget audit. Their lead, Sir Miles Renshaw, had managed state archives for 32 years. What they uncovered over the next 2 weeks stunned them. The missing pieces were traced through a diplomatic courier network normally used for art exhibitions and cultural exchanges. Each shipment bore sealed credentials marked Royal Property, Exhibition Loan, Confidential. The couriers flew from London Heathrow to Zurich, March 5th, Paris, March 8th, and Geneva, March 15th, escorted by a single handler, the same Charles Everett Catherine had spotted in Monaco. Payment trails showed deposits into numbered accounts belonging to Brantley Heritage Trust, a shell company created in 2022 and linked to a retired financial advisor in Camilla's private office. Every coin of the puzzle fit. On May 9th, 2025, Sir Miles compiled a 62-page summary. Deliberate misappropriation, high-level access suspected. The final paragraph chilled William when he read it. All identified actions required personal approval from an individual with status equal to or above HRH consort. In simple terms, no one else had that authority. Catherine closed the folder slowly. "It's her," she said, almost whispering. "There's no one else." That night, William sat alone in the library of Kensington Palace, the same room his mother once used to write private letters. "We'll handle this quietly," he said when Catherine entered, "but it can't stay buried." They both knew what it meant. Confronting the king's wife risked tearing the monarchy apart, yet doing nothing would betray Diana's memory all over again. The crown's honor and their mother's legacy hung in the balance. By May 12, 2025, the investigation's sealed report reached Buckingham Palace, labeled "Private" for His Majesty's attention. Before it could be delivered, William intercepted it. "We tell him ourselves," he said to Catherine. The following evening, a closed meeting was arranged in King Charles's private study at 8 p.m. The attendees, Charles, Camilla, William, and Catherine. The dossier lay ready on the table, 62 pages that would alter royal history forever. The confrontation was about to begin. The royal confrontation. The clock struck 8:01 p.m. on May 13, 2025, inside King Charles III's private study. Heavy curtains muffled the outside world. On the mahogany table lay the dossier, 62 pages, red-bound, marked Confidential, Internal Audit of Royal Assets. William sat opposite his father, Catherine beside him, calm but resolute. Camilla entered last, her diamonds catching the lamplight. "So," she said evenly, "we're doing this formally?" William's voice stayed measured. "We found your authorizations, ma'am. 3 jewels signed out under your hand. No return forms, no documentation." He slid forward copies of the Geneva and Monaco auction receipts, each stamped April 18th and May 2nd, 2025. Camilla didn't flinch. "They were for valuation," she replied. "Restoration for insurance. Nothing sinister." Catherine leaned in. "Then why the offshore payments? Why the courier under false clearance?" Her tone was calm, almost gentle, but her eyes stayed locked. Camilla's lips tightened. For a moment, silence filled the room, the kind that feels heavier than shouting. King Charles finally spoke. "Answer her." Camilla exhaled sharply. "You both forget. I've protected this institution for decades, while others broke it." William's reply landed like glass shattering. "You sold part of my mother's legacy." His father's head bowed slightly, grief mixing with disbelief. The meeting ended at 9:14 p.m., with no apology, no confession, only truth laid bare between them. The dossier remained on the table, unopened by the king, but understood by all. By dawn on May 14, 2025, Buckingham's corridors buzzed in whispers. The king had spent the night pacing beneath portraits of Victoria and George VI, torn between crown and conscience. Camilla withdrew to her private apartments, refusing breakfast, speaking to no one. At 10 a.m., Charles called for the Lord Chamberlain. "Prepare options," he said. "Quiet ones." That afternoon, William met Catherine in the garden. "It's begun," he told her softly. The monarchy stood on the edge of another storm, and this time silence would not save it. The king's verdict. The final decision came 24 hours later, on May 15, 2025, at precisely 6:30 a.m. Charles, sleepless, summoned his advisors to the morning room at Buckingham Palace. The document before him bore the title, "Royal Reassignment of Duties, Immediate Effect." His hand trembled slightly as he signed. The decree removed Camilla from all active engagements and restricted her use of state jewels pending review. At 8:02 a.m., Camilla was informed by letter. She read it alone in her chamber, the morning light hitting the embossed seal of the crown. "Effective immediately, your official duties are suspended until further notice. No accusations, no explanation, just finality." Within hours, her upcoming appearances, the Chelsea Flower Show, May 20th, and Royal Opera Gala, May 25th, were cancelled. That evening, Charles addressed the nation in a televised statement lasting 5 minutes. His voice carried both sorrow and resolve. "Our duty to history outweighs personal sentiment," he said. "Integrity must anchor service to the crown." He never mentioned her name, yet every viewer understood. Across Britain, televisions flickered with stunned silence. Then came applause from some, disbelief from others. At 10 p.m., William and Catherine stood side by side in Kensington's drawing room, watching the replay. "He did it," Catherine whispered. William nodded, expression unreadable. "He chose the crown," he said quietly. "Now we live with it." Outside, London's rain began to fall, steady, cleansing, and strangely merciful. By May 17, 2025, Camilla had vacated her suite, moving quietly to Ray Mill House in Wiltshire, Berkshire. Her security detail halved, her staff reassigned. The palace statement labeled her absence temporary reassessment, But inside royal circles, everyone knew it was Exile in all but name. The scandal might have ended there, except the jewels were still missing. William ordered one last push to bring them home. What began as family shame was now a mission of restoration, both moral and material. Camilla's quiet exile. The convoy left Clarence House just after 9 p.m. on May 17, 2025. 3 cars, curtains drawn. Inside the middle vehicle sat Camilla, face pale, staring straight ahead. The journey to Ray Mill House, her private estate in Wiltshire, took exactly 92 minutes. Outside, photographers caught only headlights disappearing into the countryside. By morning, tabloids carried the headline, "Queen Consort in Seclusion After Jewel Scandal." Inside the palace, life shifted overnight. Her name vanished from schedules, her portraits quietly removed from reception corridors. Courtiers whispered of her phone calls unanswered, letters returned unopened. Even Charles, sources said, had retreated to Highgrove, canceling his Ascot planning session, May 18th. 1,000 unspoken emotions hung between them: love, betrayal, duty, exhaustion. Catherine moved with calm precision. She coordinated directly with the Royal Collection team, instructing all foreign brokers to be contacted through diplomatic channels. "We recover what we can," she told them. "No press, no noise, just retrieval." Within 10 days, one piece reappeared: the pearl drop earrings, returned voluntarily by a Geneva collector who had admired Diana. By May 28th, a quiet sense of closure began to settle. Yet, in every corridor, Camilla's absence echoed louder than her presence ever had. Some staff missed her warmth. Others whispered she'd overplayed her hand. For William and Catherine, there was no triumph, only relief that Diana's name would finally rest untarnished. On June 1st, 2025, word reached Kensington that a Monaco intermediary had agreed to return the sapphire brooch on condition of anonymity and reimbursement. Catherine approved the deal within an hour. William arranged discreet transport through the British Embassy in Paris, set to arrive within a week. As the bracelet surfaced soon after, their mission neared completion. Yet, deep down, they both understood. The jewels were symbols, not endings. The real restoration was of trust, the monarchy's most fragile treasure. The return of Diana's jewels. The recovered jewels arrived at Buckingham Palace on June 8, 2025, escorted by 2 security officers and a plain-clothed curator. The sapphire brooch, the pearl drop earrings, and the gold bracelet were placed on velvet cloth under soft vault light. Catherine and William stood together at 2:17 p.m., silent, watching the pieces gleam again. For the first time in months, peace replaced anger. "She's home," Catherine whispered. Each item was re-entered into the Royal Collection Register with new tracking numbers and biometric verification. Vault security was upgraded, dual key access, live monitoring, quarterly audits. The procedure took 9 hours, finishing near midnight. At 12:03 a.m. June 9th, the vault door sealed again. William lingered a moment longer, running a hand across the cold steel. "For her," he murmured. Within weeks, the jewels went on limited display for charity under the title Diana's Legacy, Symbols of Compassion. Opened July 3, 2025, the exhibition drew over 50,000 visitors in its first week. People wept quietly before the sapphire brooch, seeing not scandal, but endurance. Reporters called it the Crown's redemption. The monarchy, bruised but breathing, found renewal through transparency. Camilla remained out of sight at Ray Mill. Her name faded from daily talk, replaced by cautious optimism. For William and Catherine, the ordeal reshaped their understanding of power. That true royalty isn't about possession, but preservation. As one courtier put it best, the jewels returned, but something else stayed. The proof that even in silence, Diana still guards the heart of the crown. By autumn 2025, the palace gleamed under restored calm. Security tightened, reputations mended, and duty reclaimed its quiet dignity. Yet among the polished displays, one truth lingered. Betrayal can wound even gold, but redemption can make it shine brighter. The jewels of Diana now sat behind glass, untouchable. Reminders that love and integrity are the monarchy's most priceless inheritance. In every sparkle of sapphire and pearl, her story lived on, not lost, not sold, but finally home.